Gavin from Noizze. Thanks for coming down. I'm with
Aaron Marshall, aka Intervals.
Brilliant, excellent. So how are you doing?
I'm wonderful. Today's day one of a long adventure, and I'm excited about it.
Cool. Have you ever been to Tech Fest before?
First time.
First time. Okay, cool. Did you get in soon? Recently, rather, a couple of hours ago or something?
Yeah, we've been here since maybe about noon,
Okay.
and we'll be here until early morning.
Seen many of the bands at all? Or?
Not much, no. Just sort of getting acclimated, and it's day one, and like I said, of a long adventure. So handling, merch and our due diligence, and press now.
Yeah.
Food in a bit, warm up, play the show.
So you're not going to have much chance to see the bands?
Unfortunately, no. I'd like to see Disperse, but they're playing at the same time as us.
I see.
So, and I've got two sets to play because I'm playing second guitar for Pliny.
Oh,
and
okay.
He plays second guitar for me, so we're doing two sets back to back. So,
how do you feel about that? Is it
stoked as anything, man?
Oh, okay.
He just came on my North American headline tour and played for me as well, him and Simon.
Cool.
And now we're over here doing the damn thing. So.
Cool. Yeah, I've heard you guys are pretty must be big friends and stuff, considering you've got the two bands that you kind of like juggling and everything. How do you find sort of like doing that?
Well, it sort of just started happening in the context of this tour recently. It was something that him and I had discussed the last time I was in Europe, actually, in 2014. January 2014 with Protest the Hero and Tesseract, and Plenty and I met for the first time in Berlin.
Yeah.
And sort of, I'm a man of my word. We had a discussion about how rad it would be to be able to do something sort of resembling what we're doing now, and we followed through and did it in North America on this previous tour in March, April, and now I'm following suit, and I've learned his set, and he's continuing to do mine. So, it's just a lot of notes and doing it with the best people I've ever played music with. So
cool. No,
really
that sounds
excited.
like a really exciting arrangement, actually.
It's freaking great, man. We got guys from Canada and Australia converging in Europe to play music for 6 weeks together. It's amazing.
Cool, man.
I'm stoked.
Has there been many influences? What are your influences, rather, in terms of your music and things?
It's a bit of a hodgepodge, isn't it? I'm sort of all over the place. When I was younger, I was really into a lot of pop punk and stuff like that, and I sort of discovered like a lot of the skate era, like techie and thrash bands like Strung Out, Propagandhi, Alkaline Trio, like a lot of Fat Records bands, stuff like that. But I'm big on really love like Newfound Glory, Story of the Year, stuff like that, which I think people might think is a little strange considering the music that I make. But those are my early days, and then I discovered bands like Avenged Sevenfold, Atreyu, more guitar-oriented music, Protest the Hero, Hometown Boys. They're a big deal for me.
These kind of bands that actually got you into metal?
For sure, and then I got introduced to Sixth and stuff like that, and changed everything for me.
Cool.
And also really into hip hop, R&B, stuff like that. So that seems to find its way into some of the choices that I make. But
so to be fair, it's interesting to sort of like get all of like the different kind of like angles on sort of like all of different music genres kind of like combining and everything like that.
That's what makes technical and progressive music what it is, I think. It's sort of just a byproduct of some of your influences, I think.
Yeah. What do you think about the idea of sort of like metal combining itself with sort of like other genres and things?
Yeah, it can be done well, I think. Certain other genres tend to lend themselves a little bit more to finding their way into metal. It's pretty rare that you see metal find its way elsewhere, but because it's such a visceral thing, I think. But if it's done tastefully, I think it can be done really well. Other times it can be a little kitschy or a little hokey, I think. But it just kind of depends on the choices that you make therein. So.
Okay. We're also at Noizze very interested in stuff like upcoming bands and things like that. I was just wondering if you'd seen any or perhaps even toured anywhere. It's just like, wow, what is going on with this band? They're really exciting, actually.
Up-and-coming bands?
Yeah.
We played with this band in Fort Worth, Texas, which is somewhere near Dallas, and they're called Terra Collective, and they don't even have an EP out yet. They played like their second show ever opening for my tour recently, and Pliny's guys and myself, we were just freaking blown away, like really sick. That's probably one of the things I'm the most excited about right now. There's some other up and coming stuff. I think like a lot of the stuff I could mention perhaps is all pretty obvious stuff that's happening on the internet, but I'd love to give a leg up to guys that like really deserve it. These guys, they're in their absolute infancy, like second show, man. and just unbelievable. I'm going to say it again, Terra Collective. And they're from Denton, which is where Snarky Puppy's from.
Oh, right,
A lot of talent coming out of Denton. But yeah, so they opened our show in Dallas, and or in Fort Worth, I should say.
Yeah.
And we offered them the next 2 nights if they wanted in Houston and in Austin, and they couldn't do it because the boys are still working jobs and doing that whole thing. But that's like one of the experiences I've had recently where I was just absolutely blown away by something that I've wow, who is this band? Come out of left field and just blow everyone away.
Okay, that's
really
cool.
Sick.
Cool. Is there any advice that you would give to sort of like these kind of upcoming bands or bands that are starting out?
Yeah, actually, I will answer that, but I'm going to say Save Us from the Archon as well. Everyone needs to know about that because they were on our tour as well, and I just realized, those are the boys. They deserve it. Advice. Well, I'm going to say stick to your guns, use the internet as a tool. Don't be discouraged by the lack of anything.
Yeah.
You need to continue staying on top of what it is that makes this whole thing tick for you.
Yeah.
You know, we make art because we feel inclined to, not because we feel like we have to.
Yeah.
And you should never be discouraged with resistance or the lack of growth. It's going to be a slow burn.
Yeah.
And I'm going to reiterate, stick to your guns. You can do this yourself. You don't need any ridiculous infrastructure from anybody, not to knock labels or anything that, provides support.
Sure.
But it's just not necessary. If you have uninhibited, honest art, it's going to find its way to those who care about it. And those people will in turn support you, and you will carry onwards and upwards from there. So hopefully that's positive and uplifting for some people. And I'm not being facetious about that. That's been my model from the beginning, and I didn't really realize that until I could tangibly experience how much support people have graced intervals with over the last couple of years, and it's the reason I'm here sitting with you now. So
cool. Picking up on like what you were saying about sort of like using internet as like a tool and everything, it's interesting. I mean, internet is a big game changer, particularly for sort of like the music industry and everything. What do you think about the idea of spreading around your music, downloading music, and especially for bands that are trying to make it as using it as a full-time job kind of a thing, if that makes sense?
I mean, there's just so many ways to do it. There's so many mediums, so many resources to do it. Just digital music alone. Like, a lot of people are like, bands don't make money from their music. It's probably because they have an arrangement where somebody else is making that money. I feel like if you put out, if an act that's on its way up, who has a little bit of attention, puts out their, first EP, and Bandcamp is your lifeline. I truly believe that it's very possible to make a living doing it, and that it's not very hard to do this. The number one thing is making honest art that people connect with.
Okay.
A lot of people are like, this is gonna be the band name, we're gonna look like this is gonna be our gimmick, this is our vibe, and then the tunes don't have any weight. And that's the problem.
Okay.
You can be a marketing genius, but you have to have a product.
Sure. Okay, that's interesting. Cool. In terms of sort of like sort of instrumental metal music, I'm seeing a lot more of these bands kind of crop up nowadays.
Sure.
Is there any particular reason for this?
It's been happening. It's not really a new phenomenon, you know. I feel like when a trend or a wave happens, it's not because it just caught fire last night. It's you're just seeing the tip of the iceberg emerge, and this is deeply rooted. I mean, guitar-centric or guitar-oriented music has been popular since the 80s. Shrapnel Records days, like LA Shred, Hollywood Shred stuff. That's always been a thing. It may have gone away in the 90s a little bit, and perhaps there was a moment in time where it was sort of uncool to be that, or it needed to have a singer, it needed to be marketed a certain way, people need to connect, little girls need to connect with the thing, or whatever. But there's so much music these days that there's room for everybody. People always say that things are oversaturated, but I actually believe that the more music there is, the more of this kind of thing starts to happen, where like a niche can just emerge like this and become prominent in that regard as well. So I don't know, man. I think that it's just it's not a new phenomenon. We've all been earning it.
And you think
just seeing
a lot more?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think there's much of a ceiling to it now. Look at how popular EDM is, and until you splice the vocal hook in, it's just instrumental stuff. And they're doing huge numbers. Do I think that it can reach those heights. Well, I don't know. Will it take some time? Who knows? What's the overall trajectory for this thing? I don't know. But I'm just trying to like do the thing while I'm trying to make lemonade while there's lemons.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's gonna like die out anytime soon. But I think that it's that it's definitely prominent, it's alive and well, and it's on the way up right now. So just, as long as people continue to support it, then it is what it is,
Cool. And as a band and also as a musician, what are your hopes and dreams for the future?
Well, I think that for anyone who's been paying attention with like sort of how things have gone for me and stuff, I think it's less about being a quote-unquote band. I think that it's a pretty like loose sort of type of thing. I mean, like Intervals is more of a nickname than it is really a band name at this point in time. But my goal, my overall thing is to be able to continue to make uninhibited art and be honest about it, and to just make a living doing that and just like live my life and be happy. I don't really think about too much apart from like the cycle of an artist is, or it's basically like the length of the life of the album that you're supporting or whatever. So you pour yourself out, you take a snapshot of how it is that you feel in that point in time, you bottle it up, you release it to people, you go out there and you bring it to life for them, and then you wind it down and take a look at where your head's at then, and you can do it over and over and over again until you don't feel like it anymore. And that's what my time here is about, I think. So.
Okay, cool. Well, best of luck with that.
Thank you.
I do just want to finish on one rather silly kind of question. We like to put in a random question in there, rather just for a bit of fun.
All good.
If you were an animal, what would you be?
Oh, that's fire. If I was an animal, what would I be? Damn, that's a hard one. I'm trying to think of a really cool one. I'd be like a big ass bird.
Okay.
Yeah, not like a bald eagle, but I'd be like a majestic, and not a peacock either. It's not coming to me right now. I'd be a big ass bird.
Okay. Cool.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
Fair enough. No, that works for me. Brilliant. Excellent. Well, thank you once again for your time today. I hope you really enjoy the festival, and good luck for both the set lists, I suppose, that you're playing. But thank you very much for your time. All right.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.